You know when it's 6:30.
6:30.
Well, good evening and welcome, everybody. It's nice to see all of you. Hello. Good evening and welcome, everybody. It's nice to see all of you. It's been a while. It is Tuesday, July 9th, 2019 at 6:30 p.m. and I'm calling this meeting of the Wausau City Council to order. We'll begin tonight's proceedings with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Please press yes to take roll call. All 11 members are present.
And we have one proclamation tonight, and this one's for General Aviation Appreciation Month here in July of 2019. Whereas the City of Wausau and the state of Wisconsin has a significant interest in the continued vitality of general aviation, aircraft manufacturing, aviation educational institutions, aviation organizations, and community airports. And general aviation and the Wausau Downtown Airport have an immense economic impact on the City of Wausau. And Wisconsin is home to 119 public-use general aviation airports, which serve 9,584 pilots and 5,955 active general aviation aircraft. And Wisconsin is home to 86 fixed-base operators, 52 repair stations, 157 heliports, 4 FAA-approved pilot schools, 2,362 student pilots, and 1,650 flight instructors. And general aviation airports in Wisconsin contribute more than $694 million in output to the state annually. And general aviation not only supports Wisconsin's economy, it improves overall quality of life by supporting emergency medical and healthcare services, law enforcement, firefighting, and disaster relief, and by transporting business travelers to their destinations quickly and safely. And the nation's aviation infrastructure represents an important public benefit, and congressional oversight should be in place of this system to ensure that it remains a public system and serves communities of all sizes. Now, therefore, I, Robert B. Mielke, Mayor of the great city of Wausau, do hereby proclaim general aviation a vital strategic resource to the city of Wausau, and I declare that July is General Appreciation Month for aviation in the city of Wausau. Moving on, we have nobody registered to speak tonight. I'll move on to the consent agenda, and it has been requested by Mr. Peckham that we pull file 08-0710 from the Finance Committee, a resolution approving revised parking space lease agreement with Compass Block 15. So we'll be moving that to the resolutions and ordinances. Otherwise, for the rest of the consent agenda, starting with file number 19-0601 from the City Council, the minutes of the previous meeting of June 11th, and ending with file number 190108 from Public Health and Safety, a resolution approving or denying various licenses as indicated. I'll entertain a motion to accept the rest of the consent agenda. Motion by Mr. Peckham, second by Mr. Neal.
Motion carried unanimously.
And moving on to file number 08, this is resolutions and ordinances 408-0717 from the Finance Committee, a resolution approving a revised parking space lease agreement with Compass Block 15 LLC for the Jefferson Street parking ramp. Your question or concern, Mr. Peckham?
Multiple.
Okay.
I was completely befuddled by the wording on this. I think I know where it's supposed to go, but it certainly didn't make it clear for me. Under fiscal impact, I see that it's $990 per year. And then I looked down and I saw that we're talking about 66 spaces. So I thought, okay, so they're going to rent those spaces for $15 a year, or what, $1.25 a month or something. That didn't make any sense. And then I went down to the first whereas, and it says spaces on the rooftop of the parking ramp at a rate of $5 per space for 3 years. So I thought, well, that's $1.67 a year. That's pretty cheap too. And then it said $15 per space for 3 years, so that's $5 a year, so we're getting a little more money. And then In the minutes of the Finance Committee, it says it's $15 a month, so help me.
I think the fiscal impact probably got carried over from the first resolution when they were asking for the $5 rate, but you're right, at the $15 rate, given the new 66 spaces, $15 per month, it would be $11,880 a year. So we just need to update that fiscal impact. We likely failed to do that when, because we had just approved this resolution like the month before, and so, you're just changing a few little details in that fiscal impact just didn't
Okay,
get
could
changed. I
we-
apologize for that.
Clarify the resolution then to say that the rate has been $5 per space per month? Was that what it was?
Yes,
Okay, and then the next one's okay, and then in the third, whereas, it says 66 parking spaces at a rate of $15 per space, and so we should also say
Per
per
month.
space per month.
right. Yep, then you're good.
With that, I would move to approve.
Do I have a second? Second by Mr. Nutting.
If it was $5 per month.
You may begin voting.
That's 12. That's 12.
Motion carried unanimously.
Moving on to the rest of the resolutions and ordinances, file number 19-0703, the mayor's appointments. We have three for the Mayor's Welcoming and Inclusivity Committee of Carlos Echeperborda, Andrea Olia, and Latanya Campbell. These are three-year terms. The biographies and introduction letters are attached. I'll entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Neal, second by Mr. Gusselman. Thank you. Ms. McElhaney.
Hi, I just wanted I voted against this committee due to various reasons of thinking, not believing it had some permanent or some reachable goals. It was more theoretical, we will be inclusive kind of thing. I am going to vote to agree to let these people, because I don't want to vote against people that have offered. These three are fine people, and I don't want to appear that I am against any specific individual. I still have great questions about the committee, but I hope for the best, but I just wanted to explain that and explain my vote. Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Begin voting. Motion carried unanimously.
File number-
And
Oh, I'm sorry. Motion passed 10-1.
File number 19-0705, a resolution of the Economic Development Committee granting a planning option agreement to Merge LLC for 6 months to complete planning and due diligence of redevelopment options on city-owned parcels at 120 Scott Street and 530 North Second Street. Committee action approved 5-0. The fiscal impact will be $1,000. Can I entertain a motion, please? Motion by Mr. Neal, second by Mr. Gisselman.
Begin voting. Motion carried unanimously.
File number 18-1109, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving the 2019 budget modification for the ADA, Americans with Disabilities Act audit. Committee action approved 3-0. Fiscal impact will be $18,410. I'll entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Martins. Do I have a second by Ms. Herbst? Thank you.
Begin voting. Motion carried unanimously.
File number 18-1109, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving the 2019 budget modification for boat launch repairs and other park maintenance. Committee action approved 3-0. The fiscal impact will be $18,000. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Peckham, second by Mrs. Towle. There we go. She beat you to it, Lise.
May begin voting. Motion carried unanimously.
File number 18-1109, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving the 2019 budget modification for the demolition of the Great Lakes Cheese Facility on the Riverfront Tax Increment District Number 12. Committee action approved 2-1. Fiscal impact will be $210,000. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Neal. Do I have a second? By Ms. Kelbach.
You may begin voting. Motion carried 9-2.
File number 18-1109, a resolution of the Finance Committee approving the 2019 budget modification for an increase in local share of bus purchases. Committee action approved 3-0. Fiscal impact will be $60,156. I'll entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Nutting, second by Ms. Herbst.
You may begin voting. Motion carried unanimously.
File number 15-1108, a resolution of the Plan Commission amending the General Development Plan and Precise Implementation Plan at 912, 920, 1000, 1006, 1008, and 1100 North First Street, and 1000 and 1200 North River Drive in a UDD, Unified Development District. Committee action approved 5-0. The fiscal impact will be none. I'll entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Ms. Kelbach, second by Mrs. Rasmussen.
You may begin voting. Motion carried unanimously.
File number 19-0708, a resolution of the Plan Commission approving a conditional use at 605 South 39th Avenue to allow for a parking and storage area in a B3 General Commercial District. Committee action approved 5-0. The fiscal impact will be none. I'll entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Ms. Herbst, a second by Mr. Neal.
You may begin voting. Motion carried unanimously.
Now it's time to suspend the rule. 1D, transmission of committee business to council for the items marked pending committee action. A 2/3 vote will be required. Entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Neal, second by Ms. Kelbach.
Begin voting. Motion carried unanimously.
And we have a resolution of the Committee of the Whole, file number 01-1106, for modifying the capital policies. Committee action approved 10-0. The fiscal impact will be none. I'll entertain a motion to accept. Motion by Mr. Nutting, second by Mr. Peckham. Mrs. Tao.
Hearing some of the comments from Elder Neal and Elder Peckham during our Committee of the Whole meeting earlier with regards to representation from like Transit, Park, and other departments, I just want to call our attention, if you're looking at the policy in front of you, if you look at the paragraph underneath where you start labeling the different resources that will be part of prioritizing the committee. If you take a look at where it says the committee will rank each request utilizing rating criteria, if you get down to like the second paragraph, it gets to be very generalized, or there's a lot of stuff in there. And when you state something about giving the highest priority to those projects which involve public health and safety, and then goes on and on and on. I have a question about the consistent with comprehensive planning goals and objectives. Does that mean the annual planning that departments may have that are their goals? Or are we talking about the comprehensive planning goals and objectives that come out of our July 25th meeting? Or is there an actual comprehensive plan that's actually out there that's active?
Yes, there's a almost brand-new comprehensive plan,
A lot of new
and
plans.
that's on the website.
Okay. I tried to look for it, sorry, Mary Ann, I couldn't find it.
Okay.
And so I just
We
want,
can send you a new link.
yeah, I just want some clarity there. If there is a comprehensive plan that is active.
Yep.
Can we change that to reflect that comprehensive plan, please, in the language? I guess I'm just providing suggestions, but I probably should make the amendment if that's what's required of me. And then I like to add that maybe we should, I looked at other policies too, and other policies talk about, new facilities, maintaining current capital equipment that we currently have. It talked about public health and safety. It talked about transit system. It talked about our parks and recreations. So I would like to have some of that language be included. And I think that where we talk about implementing cost-saving measures, and I think we know that, as we're going through the ranking process. So if we can add that, I think that might help the comments that we heard earlier from the committee of the whole, to have good representation, because I think it's important for us to have it there.
So I think the criteria that's listed here is the criteria that's in the rating matrix. So each one of those had like a little heading. And so this is reflecting those headings. So for example, your idea about facilities, so preservation of existing capital assets, if you think back to the rating criteria, more points are allocated to putting on a new roof, let's say, on an existing facility than creating a brand-new facility, because we need to maintain our current facilities that should receive higher priority. So that's what that's referring to. And the improving quality of life really is related to parks and recreation. So it is more of a park and recreation thing if it's, more of a health and
And I don't think.
entertainment.
Yeah, thank you for that explanation. Being someone who may not look at this every day.
Sure.
We may not know that that is related to, park and recreation. So it would be nice to have that in there, a little bit more detail. But going back to, I think the most important thing to me too was that consistent with comprehensive planning goals and objectives. If there is an active comprehensive plan, let's state that, so that the committee, the CIP committee, is well aware that when you're ranking, and the Common Council, when we get our opportunity to review, that we know that we should be referring to that to help guide us.
So respectfully asking you just.
Make the amendment?
To make the amendment.
Okay.
Can you word how you would like that done, please?
Okay, thank you. So I would move to amend the capital policy to have the consistent with comprehensive planning goals and objectives be struck to include the active comprehensive plan that we have on our website, and the improving quality of life, if that can reference parks and recreation, or maybe even put that in parens, that would be okay with me. And then I think that would end my amendment.
Okay, I do need a second on that one before we get to Mrs. Rasmussen.
I'll second.
Would you like to second that? Go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. And you would like to speak? Go ahead.
Thank you. I think that Mary's on the right track with her amendment to reference the current, we can use generic language that references the current version of Wausau's comprehensive plan, so that as the plan gets updated to, this year's version or next year's version or whatever, as long as we stipulate that it's the current version of Wausau's comprehensive plan, we'd get the information in there that we need. At the end, where she referenced improving quality of life, we could add a statement that says, implementing cost-saving measures and improving quality of life, and creating and preserving public amenities that achieve that quality of life. So that gets your park and recreation feel. Any public amenities that we create that enhance the quality of life in Wausau. So whether they're park and rec, whether they're public facilities, whether they're, other public spaces, whether they're transit services, that makes them all relevant. But I think her amendment kind of sums that up, so.
All right,
Okay.
go ahead.
You can begin voting on the amendment. Motion carried unanimously.
And at this time, I'll open it up to the audience if there's anybody that, oh,
You got to go back
I'm
to
sorry.
the original.
the original, sorry.
This is as amended now. And this already has a motion, so I'm going to have you begin voting. Motion carried unanimously.
My apologies, we do have one more. A resolution of the Finance Committee approving the redemption of an outstanding state trust fund loan principal of $646,258.29 and related accrued interest. Committee action approved, 5-0. Fiscal impact will be paying off $655,181.97, which will save $126,150.47 of interest to be paid until March 15th, 2026. I'll entertain a motion to accept this. Got approved 5-0, just to reiterate that. Let's see, Ms. Herbst, and second by Ms. Kelbach.
Begin voting. Motion carried unanimously.
Now we will open it up for public comment. If anybody would like to come forward and speak about a matter addressed tonight or anything else going on in the city, now's your chance. Going once, anybody like to come forward? Going twice? Anybody like to come forward and speak about a matter? Okay, that item is closed. At this time, I'll entertain a motion. Oh, Mr. Peckham.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to inform the rest of the council that the Park and Rec Committee did take up on, at our meeting on July 1, the question of possible further testing for contaminants at Riverside Park. And we had a difficulty, well, a couple of difficulties, as usual. But we, our consultant, who we pressed to, we said, basically, we want to do more testing, tell us what to do. And he came back recommending 20 tests that would have cost in excess of $70,000, which made me pause a little bit. But the main reason why we did not act was that our consultant couldn't be with us at that meeting. He has a prior obligation right when we meet. He's already got something. So we are setting up another meeting for the week of July 22. We're looking at either July 24th or 25th. We may end up meeting right before the Committee of the Whole meeting. But we're going to try to have him be present. And Alderman Smith made a recommendation that we also ask for a formal recommendation or wish list, I guess, from the Citizens for Clean Wausau as to what they would want to see us do. And so we don't have that yet, to my knowledge, but I hope to have that by the end of the week. And we'll put that agenda together, and anybody who's interested is welcome to attend. But we hope to come back to the council with a recommendation for some course of action on that as soon as we can. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Nutting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. And I just wanted to, I think that I speak for all members of the council in wanting to thank our police department for the great work that they've been doing over the last couple of weeks with regards to the crimes that have been noted and the extraordinary effort that our department has been putting out. It's been quite a stressful time for our officers, and please express our thanks again.
I talked with the chief this morning, as a matter of, or this afternoon, about some other things, including that, and I expressed our thanks for that, and to all the officers, so thank you, gentlemen and ladies. Ms. McElhaney.
Thank you. To follow up with Mr. Peckham, I have been thinking, and I know that Mr. Gisselman has asked, I believe months ago, for a cow to again discuss this possible contamination problem along the Thomas Street corridor. There's a lot of, I live on the northeast side. It's not my district, but I'm getting a lot of questions that I cannot answer. I'm seeing a lot of paperwork and old paperwork from the 80s and new paperwork that I'm not completely understanding, and I want to make sure our residents both are healthy and safe and that they feel healthy and safe. And I know some don't. And I would like us to, I don't think it's beating a dead horse or anything, I would like us to really consider having a cow, maybe after Mr. Peckham's meeting with some more input. But I think it goes beyond Riverside Park. And I know that we left it with Mr. Lindman. I have been conversing with him that, the DNR was doing it. We have Walico, going back to the DNR. And I would like some follow-up so we can tie up some loose ends, because I don't have the answers to for my residents or for the rest of the city that is asking me. So I'm respectfully asking that when we have all that information from Walico, from the DNR, that we have a cow so we can have all that information given to us at one time, and hopefully in an understandable format that we can then express and discuss with our residents. Thank you.
Mrs. Rasmussen.
Thank you. I can understand Becky's questions as well, and I think once we get through the process with the Clean Wausau Group and the Parks Committee, and we determine what measure of additional testing we've got and what the funding is going to be for that, that'll happen collaboratively between Park and Rec and Finance. Once we get those answers and we know a little more about what Walico and the DNR are actually doing with their study of soils and air-driven migration and things like that, I'll connect with Eric, and once we know that he's got some answers to give us, we'll host a committee of the whole to get that information to everybody in one setting, and then we can have some question and answer with him as well.
Mr. Peckham.
Yeah, I know we can't have a discussion on this that would lead to any action, but just a thought would be that after we get our results from the park, the plan is to submit those to the state toxicologists, who have already said that they would examine those and kind of factor them in with their earlier recommendations, so they could give us a more solid recommendation about the safety of the park itself. But I think so that's going to take a while, and another possibility would be to wait for a cow until we have the results of the Walico aerial deposition study, the surface soil tests. I think we'd know more, and maybe we can meet as many times as you like, but we don't want to, and I don't know how, I think we need to get a handle on how fast the Walico numbers are going to be coming in, because I've also heard that before they really pull the trigger, they want to know what might have been deposited from Marathon Rubber, and, lordy, we're talking, a long, drawn-out process. I like to get this thing going, but anyway, so at some point, I think you're absolutely right. We should have a, further complete discussion, so.
When all the studies are done, I would completely agree. If there's nothing from anybody else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn. Not everybody at once, please. Mr. Barnes, I have a second from Mr. Neal.
Begin voting. Motion carried.
And we are adjourned. Everybody have a wonderful evening. Thank you.